Build Back Better will help, quote, alleviate some of the strain caused by inflation. And I think what's important to note here is, and you're an economic expert of sorts, even if you play one on TV, but I know you actually are, is that as we talk about inflation and data, very important way to look at it and evaluate, look at the Federal Reserve projections. American people, how they're experiencing this at home is a rise in costs in different areas, right? Whether it's meat prices when they're buying burgers or gas prices or other areas. So why we explain Build Back Better the way we do is to convey exactly the areas to the American public where it will lower costs. Childcare is a huge cost burden on a lot of families across the country, and it will have an immediate impact next year. Go ahead.
Folks, let's go over the most important stimulus news that you want to be sure to know. And I believe that President Biden should definitely do a better job in sending out the stimulus checks this year. He definitely should not be holding them back, and he should send them out as soon as possible. If you guys agree with me, then let's get this video to 1,000 likes. Now, Joe Biden just signed an executive order directing a streamline of public services across 17 federal agencies. The executive order is meant to build accountability and transparency in the agencies, to spur more efficiency in actions like applying for small business loans and filing taxes. Biden said, "We have to prove democracy still works, that our government still works and can deliver for our people." The order states that in recent years, the annual paperwork burden imposed by executive departments and agencies on the public has been in excess of 9 billion hours. The number is too high. Its aim is to effectively reduce administrative burdens, simplify both public-facing and internal processes to improve efficiency. Now also, everybody, this is the most important news about the stimulus checks. Social Security recipients will also see larger checks starting January 2022, as a result of a 5.9% increase from the new COLA. This is not to be confused with remaining payments in 2021, which will be paid as regularly scheduled and amount of payments with checks earlier in the year. This means that whatever you have been receiving throughout this year will continue to be the amount you receive in your benefit check for the remainder of the year, and SSI payments will be paid on December 30th for all those who are eligible. The rate of inflation has seen record highs over the course of the last year, and reports for November are no different. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that over the last year, inflation has risen 6.8%, and the index for gas, housing, food, and used vehicles all rose. Seniors have suffered the most due to the cost of inflation. They live on a fixed income, and while costs rise around them, their income remains the same. Every year, Social Security uses the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers to decide if and how much Social Security benefits increase. But now inflation tops the list of the most complaints among US consumers. Folks, we all know that prices for everything have gone up, so it's definitely necessary for Biden to realize that stimulus checks have to be approved. Also, everybody, you want to be sure to know this. All eyes are on the Federal Reserve's next move, while achieving full employment and price stability are both part of the Fed's dual mandate. It should probably be more worried about these higher prices. Incoming labor market data suggests that the economy has achieved or will soon reach full employment, but inflation is still out of control. The Fed must act now, and more stimulus checks need to be sent out. If you guys agree with me, then let's get this video to 1,000 likes. Thank you so much for watching.
Reality. Now, Mr. President, on a totally different matter, Washington Democrats' printing, borrowing, and spending addiction is directly hurting American families. 2/3 of the American people, a supermajority, are worried about inflation. About half the middle class and 70% of low-income families say soaring prices have personally hurt their household. And it isn't getting better, like the Biden administration promised it would. It's actually getting worse. Last Friday, the Labor Department released a jaw-dropping report. The Consumer Price Index has shot up 6.8% over the past year, 6.8% inflation. The worst inflation, listen to this, the worst inflation in 40 years. Now, it's true that the average American worker has gotten a pay increase since 2020, but rising prices have more than wiped that totally out. We have a remarkable situation where American workers are earning raises, but their bigger paychecks buy their families even less than what their smaller paychecks bought before the Democrats took power. The net effect is a nearly 2% pay cut for the average American. Now, our citizens do know what's happening. 67% of the country says Washington needs to cut back on spending and printing money. Let me say that again. 67% of the country says Washington needs to cut back on spending and printing money. But here in Washington, leading Democrats want to plow ahead and double down on the reckless taxing and spending spree that got us here. They want to respond to this stunning inflation report by printing, borrowing, and spending trillions upon trillions more on new entitlements and far-left programs. And if that weren't bad enough, on Friday, a new report showed their socialist shopping spree could cost the country trillions more than Democrats are willing to admit. You see, as one of our Democratic colleagues explained last month, his party's bill is packed full of shell games and budget gimmicks. Shell games and budget gimmicks. For example, their bill pretends that major new entitlements would simply expire after a few years. Of course, that never happens. As a wise man once said, nothing is so permanent as a temporary government program. And Democrats aren't even pretending they think the spending would stop. They're boasting about a permanent transformation. The fake expiration dates are just an accounting trick so the price tag looks artificially low. And last Friday, the Congressional Budget Office announced that if we acknowledged the permanent entitlements would be permanent, in other words, tell the truth, their bill would actually cost $4.9 trillion in the first decade alone. That is the truth of the situation. It would explode the deficit by $3 trillion in that same 10-year period. Democrats are trying to reassure their alarmed members that they'd find new ways to offset future extensions. But let's think about it. They've just spent months shoveling every possible pay-for into this existing bill. They already burned through huge permanent tax hikes just to partially offset the bill.
Madam President.
Senator from Colorado.
Thank you, Madam President. It is a wonderful moment to be here with my colleagues to acknowledge that in March, we passed the biggest reduction in poverty in generations in our country. And that was through the expansion of the child tax credit, which increased the credit, made it payable on a monthly basis, and for the first time in American history, made it fully refundable. So the millions of children in this country that were too poor to get the benefit of the credit because their families were too poor would get the benefit of that credit. And we needed to do it, Madam President. The United States, before we passed this, was